What's up everybody, this is Ambro with AMBG, and today we are talking about Kena Bridge of Spirits. This game releases on the PS4, PS5, and PC via the Epic Games Store on August 24th, 2021 for the retail price of $39.99 US. As always, if you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to support the channel further, consider subscribing. It would really help out the channel and I'd greatly appreciate it. Now that the scene is set, let's dive in.
The path of a spirit guide is a lonely one.
Kena Bridge of Spirits is a story-driven action-adventure set in a charming world rich with exploration and fast-paced combat. Players find and grow a team of tiny spirit companions called the Rot, enhancing their abilities and creating new ways to manipulate the environment. So let's start with just a little background of this game because it has a richer past than you might think. Kena Bridge of Spirits is being developed by Ember Labs, a 14-man independent studio based out of Los Angeles. The studio, founded in 2009 by brothers Mike and Josh Greer, had actually worked on several animated commercials and branded game applications, and in 2016 released a viral short film based on The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask titled Terrible Fate. The devs felt the next logical step was to make a game, and well, here we are. For the game's art design, Ember Labs partnered with Sparks. Now, Sparks is a French-Vietnamese 3D art, VFX, and animation studio with around 400 artists, animators, and technical experts. The game's fictional location is based on Eastern locations including Japan and Bali, which I think is pretty evident from what we can see. I'm a big fan of these guys, so I just want to read a little blurb off of their website so you can get a feel for who they are and what they stand for. Quote, Ember Labs strives to create immersive stories through technical innovation, compelling characters, and cinematic worlds. Founded in 2009 by brothers Mike and Josh Greer, Ember Labs began as an animation and digital content studio. Our portfolio includes character-driven commercials and animated shorts for the Coca-Cola Company, Hisense, and MLB. We are driven by a passion for telling stories. In the studio, the lines between technical, design, art, and story disappear as our team focuses on delivering immersive experiences that match our passion, end quote. So this company does have a pretty solid portfolio, and it's understandable if you've never heard of them before though, being that this is their first entry into the gaming space. That being said, let's go into this game. We're going to cover everything that we know about Kena Bridge of Spirits. So let's talk about the story first. You play as Kena, who is a young spirit guide. It is her job to guide lost spirits to the afterlife. She travels to an abandoned village in search of a sacred mountain shrine. However, upon getting to this village, she discovers that not all is well. Spirits in this village and the surrounding area have become corrupted and unable to move on, and this calamity is taking over the forest. You start off to find a troubled spirit named Taro. In order for Kena to reach her main destination, which is the mountain shrine, she must help these spirits. The trailers and previews that we've seen so far seem to suggest that she has a darker, more troubled past that is the main motivation for her to embark on such a journey in the first place. How she became the spirit guide and why she's traveling to the shrine is something that we'll have to discover on our own. Honestly, it can be broken down in simple terms. Help spirits move on, defeat corrupted baddies, and help restore natural order. Honestly, that is basically all that we've heard about the story, but there has been a good chunk of info revealed about the gameplay and the systems that we're going to talk about right now. Kena Bridge of Spirits is a third-person action-adventure game. There have been a lot of journalists who have had chances to play the game and or see it in person, and have made comparisons to God of War 2018 style combat, or Souls-Light as you like to call it, with Uncharted/Tomb Raider-like platforming and exploration. Keep in mind, this game is only coming out for $40 US. The devs have said that this is meant to be experienced in a single weekend. So don't go expecting any large open worlds to explore or a laundry list of side missions. This is a tight narrative experience. But my god, does this game look visually stunning. I mean, we've seen this very recently with the release of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, where games are beginning to inch ever closer to that Pixar DreamWorks level of rendering and presentation. I even said in my review for Ratchet & Clank that the visuals do enhance the combat experience. It actually affects the way the gameplay feels because it just looks that good. Kena is no different. The game had origins in the Unity engine, but eventually shifted to Unreal Engine 4 in terms of its development. Anyway, the combat. You have light and heavy attacks, which can obviously lead to combos. You'll also gain access to a bubble shield where, if timed correctly, you can parry some of the enemy's attacks. You can see where the inspiration is drawn, but this is a good thing. Journalists have pointed out that despite the simplicity of the combat and the visuals, there are a lot of nuances that make it feel deeper, which we'll get into in just a moment. You've also likely seen from the trailers that you can get access to a bow form of the staff that Kena uses, which allows you to shoot projectiles. You can use the bow to target some of the larger enemies and the mini-bosses' weak points to break them down and open them up for higher damage attacks. You also have a basic dodge roll button, which you'll use quite liberally. Now, in another twist to the combat is the inclusion of the Rot. Now, the Rot are these adorable little guys that have been featured in all of the marketing material, and for good reason. I mean, just look at them. Those little things are so cute. They make that kid from Jerry Maguire look like Sloth from the Goonies. Don't let the name deceive you. The Rot are actually spirits as well, but they're more like the keepers of balance. They have been described as spirits of decay, timid and elusive spirits scattered throughout the forest. They maintain balance by decomposing dead and rotting elements. You will actually find them around the environment, and you're going to want to find them because the more Rot that you find, the more powerful they will become, and in turn, Kena. You can find up to 100 of them, and you'll find them tucked away in corners, under large objects like a log or a big rock. Now, I know what you're thinking, and it came to my mind as well. While the Rot cannot be assigned to multiple tasks like the Pikmin, they will still work together to break down whatever Kena, as the player, tells them to break down. You'll break down areas to unlock new areas and complete puzzles. There is also a courage meter that will fill up as you defeat enemies. When an enemy is defeated, they'll drop these yellow orbs. Once the meter is filled, you can have the Rot perform an action. Now, these actions can vary from distracting enemies so that you can line up a big attack, or they can just straight up attack the enemy, and they can even be used to find you health. Now, the devs have said that the Rot's interaction with enemies will depend on the enemy type, so you won't be able to distract all enemies or attack them all as an option. It will likely just be a single mechanic per enemy type. On some occasions, you can transform the Rot into these alternate forms. Like in the trailer, for example, you'll see a pool of water, and you can turn the Rot into a water spirit-like form, which can attack corrupted spirits or open up new areas. As you go through the game and level up and find more Rot to join your growing team, you'll gain Karma, which will unlock new abilities and actions like the Slam attack. You can see in the Slam attack that the Rot will gather up a bunch of themselves on the end of the staff, and as you slam Kena's staff on the ground, you'll launch like an energy ball of the Rot into the enemy for big damage. Or the Rot can gather on an actual enemy, and when you shoot them with the bow as they're latched to the enemy, it will shoot out additional projectiles that will target and damage surrounding enemies. The devs have assured us that the Rot will not get in the way of Kena in any way. They are only there to enhance and improve the experience and empower the player. Oh, did I mention that you can unlock hats for your team of Rot? Yeah, you can unlock hats to make them even more adorable. I needed this like yesterday. Now, the game has also been described as being difficult. It may be hard to believe, but as I mentioned before, the combat has drawn comparisons to Soulsborne games and even the recent God of War game. I do feel that difficult combat in games helps the world feel more grounded. The game does have difficulty options, so don't worry. If you're just interested in absorbing all this game has to offer from a story and lore standpoint, you have been accounted for. But it is nice to know that there is a difficulty curve to the game that you can cater to your own personal preferences. Now, this game isn't all combat. A huge part of this game is exploration itself. Drawing comparisons to Uncharted and Tomb Raider, you will explore these beautifully handcrafted environments in search of the corrupted spirits, which will need cleansing. One of the main parts of exploration is finding red hearts. These red hearts are like these giant flowers that fill the surrounding area with the corruption. You will use Kena's staff and spirit guide powers to get rid of these concentrations and cleanse the area. In some cases, red hearts will actually spawn enemies, which will in turn make it more difficult to traverse the area, so it is of the utmost importance to find and eradicate these red hearts. So we've talked a lot about the violent, physical engagement aspects of the game, but there is also a recurring theme of restoration present. This village was run down and destroyed due to the sickness of the forest, but as you cleanse spirits and guide them, you will restore the forest and the village alike, bringing all of the life back to the area. This is also factored into the gameplay because as you trek off the beaten path, for example, you'll find shrines that have been knocked over, and you can use the rot to pick up the shrines. Doing actions like this will net you more karma, which again will give you more abilities to perform more actions within the game. It makes it worth it to put the main story on the back burner for a while and do the tasks like this. Some of the tasks may also include puzzles where you have to move statues to the right positions or even water some crops, all while utilizing the rod. As far as your ability to move Kena, you're going to have a basic jump and double jump, and as I mentioned, you're going to be solving puzzles in a Tomb Raider / Uncharted type of style. It does also look like you're going to be able to use the bow as a sort of tether so that you can jump across large gaps. Oh, just one last note. I really like the authenticity and the hard work and passion that has gone into the game. The devs actually traveled all the way to Bali, Indonesia to record authentic music, and the voice actress for Kena is also of Indonesian descent. All of this is shaping up to be a great game and a great experience. Pixar DreamWorks levels of animation and presentation, an engaging story, and challenging combat to boot. I, for one, am extremely excited to see the finished product. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. What do you think of Kena so far? Is this on your radar? Let me know down in the comments. If you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content like this and you want to support the channel further, hit that subscribe button. It would really help out the channel and I would greatly appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.